Life sometimes come at you fast. Tragedies make your life unravel. You feel like you wanna give up and stay knocked down. Even when your heart is shattered, you still got a life to live. You still got a life to live, so don't give up. We are beautiful miracles. We are beautiful miracles. We are beautiful miracles, so don't give up.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me on my podcast, Beautiful Tragedy. If you like what you're hearing, would you please like, comment, share, and subscribe? And this is going to be my final episode of season 1. This season, I really focused on child loss. I shared my own story. I shared my letter to fellow angel parents and to my tribe. I talked about challenges associated with parenting while grieving. I talked to music therapists about the benefits of music and how it affects the whole brain. I talked to the father of a boy who fought cancer 4 times. I shared about my heart's work with St. Baldrick's and Love Like Jackson. My husband and I talked about our experience of grieving as a married couple and the challenges that have come along with that. I shared about the self-care that I do. I interviewed Ivan's play therapist, and she shared some wonderful resources and expressed how a child's grief should never be overlooked. I had a wonderful and very rich discussion with our grief therapist, and he talked about how we can learn to grieve the death of our child and still function in life. I spoke from my heart, and I shared how we can learn how to be gentle with ourselves when our self-doubt is telling us that what we should or shouldn't be feeling. I talked about how the words moving on can feel very painful. I interviewed a fellow writer and angel parent who shared about her anxiety related to pregnancy after loss. I spoke with a dear friend of mine who was brave enough to walk into the fire with us. She shared about how she talked to her children who had lost their best friend. One of my actual favorite episodes was talking about it's okay to not be okay. For some reason, we feel like we need permission to not be okay, and I want to impart that that's actually not true. I shared my challenges of grieving during a pandemic and how it's just really made everything harder. I spoke with my friend who is a grief and trauma therapist, and we talked about how trauma affects the brain. I also had a wonderful conversation with a father who lost his only child and how he chose to do the hard work of healing. He started an aftercare foundation to help with the expenses after the death of a child. And I spoke with a woman whose son died at the same age as Jackson, and her surviving child was the same age as Ivan. She talked about how she now helps parents learn how to parent after the death of their child. Seeing it all in review really reminds me that with help, we can figure this out. Is it easy? No. But can it be done? Yes. And after all, we're just walking each other home. In season 2, I want to discuss the just other types of loss. Really my focus remains on destigmatizing grief and the idea that our losses are something that we have to get over. Next season, we will talk about how we can do better when it comes to grief. I will always include a new quote in each season. So for season 2, it will be a Maya Angelou quote that is, "We do the best we can until we know better. And then when we know better, we do better." I believe that we can do better, and I think that we have to do better. Really, none of us are making it out of this alive. So I feel like we can all use a little more kindness and compassion. And I want to thank everyone who's supported us so far. And I'm really only just beginning. So thank you.
In war was nothing, absolutely nothing compared to the grieving that I was going through watching my son laying in a hospital bed.
And invited to do something differently, it changes how you code the memory.
Go, that they're right there with you. In fact, they're holding on to you as much as you're holding on to them.
I think children are resilient as long as they have the support they need to get through.
It's like we're just doing the best we can for that person. Our interests are always is what is making this client comfortable, what is making this client thrive. And you don't realize, I think in that moment, what an impact you're having.